Ever wondered why some celebrities are photographed with a black eye? According to Donald, it means they have been chipped. He claims that the chips are inserted through the eye and attached to the brain, which is what causes the eye to blacken or swell. And according to Donald, these soulless clones, walk-ins, robotoids, drones, chipheads, reptilians, whatever you want to call them, they are all part of the Vril Society. He claims that whenever you see a celebrity giving the peace sign, they are actually holding up a V for Vril. And always remember, one time is by chance, the second time is coincidence, and the third time it's a pattern. So pay attention. The idea of reptilians, also known as lizard people, draconians, or shapeshifters, was highly popularized by David Icke, who claims that shape-shifting reptilians control the world from underground bases. They are from the Alpha Draconian star system and have the ability to shapeshift, which is superhuman ability of demonic manipulation through sorcery or DNA inheritance. One of the first depictions of the reptilian humanoid was the ancient deity Sobek, who had the head of a crocodile. But these reptilian myths and folklore go all the way back to the lost lands of Atlantis and Lemuria. The gray aliens were popularized by the alleged abduction of Betty and Barney Hill in 1961. These aliens are from Zeta Reticuli and allegedly harvest organs, clone, and manipulate our DNA, also stationed in deep underground military bases. In the book, The Dulce Wars, Chapter 5 discusses what he calls the Grand Deception, which is run by the Grey Reptilian Illuminati Alliance, where any opposition to the New World Order will create a conflict to reduce population of the planet, followed by a rapid series of shocking events, earthquakes, a worldwide stock market crash, all while putting millions of people worldwide in an extremely effective mind control program that could last 3 to 7 years, but will end in an American victory aided by a divine alien intervention. Whoa. This book was published in 1999. Other fascinating claims the author makes is that the apocalypse, or the prophecy of the Book of Revelations, officially started when Israel became a state by the Rothschilds in 1948. The Groom Lake facility, otherwise known as Area 51, is infested by reptilian and gray aliens, and is home to all of the people that have gone missing from our national parks, where they have unwillingly become part of unethical cloning experiments. The book also claims that people who have had near-death experiences are actually experiencing brain implant damage. The author discusses trauma-based mind control, where the human subject is programmed to operate in other dimensional realms. This happens by being possessed, which induces alternate personalities, otherwise known as alters. This makes me think about Alex Jones when he talked about interdimensional child molesters. The author also provided a map of how all the underground bases connect through a high-tech railway system, from California all the way to Oklahoma. Another quote by the author that stuck out to me was, "The legendary dragon has 2 wings, right and left. The real war is between the Christian-based Constitutional Republic of America and the Luciferian cult-based Socialist Empire of Bavaria. But do not be fooled. The right and left-wing movements are Machiavellian, created by the black nobility." Phil Schneider, a government and gray alien whistleblower, claimed that he was hired to drill holes underground and was building an addition to the deep underground military base at Dulce. His job as a geologist was to inspect the rock for drilling. During this process, they drilled through an artificial cavern and into a secret base which was the home of the Greys, and they went to war. He claimed that 67 military personnel were killed, and he was one of 3 men to survive. He lost fingers and has a huge scar on his chest that was induced by an alien radiation weapon that resulted in cancer. During his lectures, he showed an image of an alien from Venus who goes by the name Valiant Thor, who visited the Pentagon to meet with President Eisenhower in hopes of delivering God's messages, to share technology, and warn about the consequences of nuclear war. Phil Schneider's death was ruled a suicide, but it was pretty shady. And before his death, he also corroborated the story of Al Bielek, another government whistleblower. Al Bielek, after being memory suppressed for decades, started remembering having been involved in the Montauk Project, and later came out and said he realized he was born Edward Cameron, and that his memory had been wiped and was forced to live out his life as Al Bielek. Years later, he presented his story at MUFON, stating that the Philadelphia experiment was real and that it was Nikola Tesla who had discovered how to make a wormhole, which sucked the ship Al and his brother were on and sent them into the year 2137. He also said that his brother Duncan was born because the military convinced his father to have another child, to live life as a walk-in, to be possessed by a reptilian being. Duncan was highly psychic, could manifest things to happen, and had telekinesis. The series Stranger Things is based on Duncan's real-life horror story. The concept that we are not alone is supported by overwhelming evidence. Photographs, videos, radar contacts, personal witness testimony, abduction reports, crop circles, animal mutilation, channeled messages, human scars, and implants. All I can say is, if you are not questioning anything by now, you may not be human. I also want to point out that the artwork at the Vatican looks extremely demonic. The Vatican audience hall looks like the head of a snake, including the inside. Not to mention, all of the popes have questionable symbols on their robes, and the Vatican telescope is called Lucifer. There have been strange UFO connections and stories written about the Vatican as well. There have been rumors for decades surrounding the royal family and their reptilian ties. It has been proven that their ancestors were Count and Countess Dracula, who were famous cannibals. Princess Diana told Christine Fitzgerald, her personal confidant, "They are not human." And remember when Kate wore the Rosemary's Baby dress when showing off their new baby on the balcony? What's really strange is that Meghan and Harry left Buckingham Palace and moved to Canada, just a 3-hour drive from the Canadian cloning facility.